Hey guys, this is Greg Soul with the Brothers Wisp. Today we have Thomas Kernack.
Hello, hello.
And then with us, absentee brother, missed him, still love him, Justin Miller out of Virginia.
Howdy.
There you go. That's all you get. You just get a howdy. All right, so today we're going to do kind of some catch up, some news stuff. Who knows, maybe there'll be something interesting in there in between. A little bit of discussion, maybe some discourse, hopefully. Today, as you could tell, it's a little bit noisy. Hopefully my noise cancellation stuff I'll do in post-production will get rid of that. So let's see, starting out today, at the top of the list, Budapest is coming up October 7th, and Tomas with Unimus has some free vouchers. How do they get those, Thomas?
Well, basically, when you do a booth at the MUM, you get a bunch of vouchers, and you can do whatever with them, basically. So why not give them away? If somebody wants one, just let me know, and it's yours.
Awesome. So that means Unimus is going to have their own booth at the Budapest. This one's kind of a short, though, right? Isn't it just a day?
Yes, it's one of the one-day micro MUMs.
Micro MUM. I mean, it's good, right? A lot of information condensed down into one. I'm sure it'll be hectic. Is probably a good word for it. You'll probably be moving pretty fast. And that is October 7th, right?
Yeah.
All right, so less than a month away. Get you some of that free stuff. So another thing coming up is WISPAPALOOZA. That's coming up pretty soon. Something that Mike put out there that I thought was probably worth sharing is that there's apparently some kind of, I'm not necessarily sure if it's a scam or not, but there's some kind of rebooking service that is prone to call users of WISPAPALOOZA saying, hey, we can rebook you and get you a better rate. And Mike's saying that it's fairly common for people who rebook to not end up with a room. So be very cautious with that kind of stuff.
Miller, the room's already pretty cheap already, so
why push it?
Yeah, why push it?
Gotcha. So
exactly.
you're gonna be there at WISPAPALOOZA, aren't you, Miller? Okay.
I'll be there. Yep.
When is WISPAPALOOZA?
October 13th, I think, 11th through 13th.
All right, right around there. All right.
I'm gonna be there the 8th through the 15th, so.
Gotcha.
Be there for a while.
You got a little bit of other stuff to do. All right.
I got family there, so.
Good deal. Good deal, man. All right, so moving right along. Let's see. Something that Mike put up was Arstechnica was testing some small routers. I thought it was kind of interesting enough to mention it and sort of talk about it. So they started with some bargain basement stuff and went up to, I think the top of their limit was like $250. Did you guys read that article? Yeah. Yeah,
I was kind of disappointed that they were basically testing, what was it, the HAP, one of the HAPs.
I think they went with the
Hex. Hex.
And they were testing that against all the other routers, and they have like the Nighthawk X6 or whatever it is, the crazy Asus router, and then they had the Edge Router Pro, which is like $320 router.
Mm-hmm. They
were comparing all the performance, but they did say Microtech had the best price per dollar value. So.
Yeah. So it looks like in the list they had the Ubiquiti Unify Security Gateway. They had the Router Pro. Let's see, there was a Linksys in there.
They had a couple x86 boxes, which I was like, should try those with pfSense and then with Router OS if you can put it on there.
I was going to say.
That's what they didn't do, and I think that might have been an interesting comparison as well. Just on those little, x86 boxes, put Router OS on those and see how that behaves.
I would be really interested to see which one could move more packets. I mean, obviously you're going to know which one has more features. The Microtech's going to have a bigger feature set. And something else that I really thought was hilarious is he said it's $69. My favorite line, the Hex is ready to run right out of its tiny little box with a solid and attractive web interface exposing plenty of features. So he thought it was an attractive web interface, which I did not expect.
Wow.
Attractive, yeah. I don't know. Very functional, absolutely, but attractive, I don't know. This guy makes me wonder. He says the Hex looks cheap, feels cheap and is cheap. It doesn't care what you think of it. It's just here to kick ass. That was pretty funny.
It also used the least amount of power from all the routers.
Yeah, I mean, I think 23 watts was like the max amount of power used, so it was still, I mean, it's a very small curve, so everything was fairly low power, yeah, but as far as the most inexpensive bang for the buck, the MikroTik came in there. They really liked the Ubiquiti, but everybody likes the Ubiquiti, right? The GUI's easy to use, and it's a solid box, so
yeah,
they seem to like it. Yeah, I don't know.
A little flashy.
Yeah. It's just something that was in there.
I would imagine why they said the web UI of MikroTik was pretty is because they only used Quickset, which is kind of, you know, little graphs and everything. It has that. So I wonder if they actually used the MikroTik, you know, even dipped into the full feature set of the MikroTik, or if they just stayed on the Quickset screen.
I think they probably just got it to where it would move traffic across and they would do their test. I don't think they really did much. At least from reading it, it didn't seem like they messed with the features very much.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine as well. Just Quickset and that's it.
Yeah, I think in their test they were pushing like 900 megs through, which was
obviously fast track.
Yeah,
with that.
Fast track was kicked in there. Yeah, right in their gig interfaces. So
yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good throughput, especially compared to the rest of the equipment on there.
One of the edge routers or the security gateway was only doing 200 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was the security gateway.
And it was over twice the price. So
yeah.
There you go. If we're done with that one, I wanted to move on to one that's more of kind of an opinion piece. What do you guys think, right? So I was perusing the Nanog list, and there was actually a pretty active thread. By the time I looked at it, it had 27 answers on there, and it all surrounded this this company called VDOS. And we'll put a link in the show notes so you can check it out, or if you are on Facebook, on the Brothers Wisp Facebook page, you'll see the link there. But in effect, this VDOS, I think it was an Israeli company. I can't remember. Yes, Israeli company. It was two guys, both of them were 18 years old apparently, and for the last couple of years they've been running a for-hire DDoS service, at least for the last couple of years. It seems like they've been doing it a little bit longer than that, but in the last 2 years they're saying that they've made in excess of $600,000 coordinating these distributed denial of service attacks. Anyway, what it comes down to is these guys are in jail right now, but the interesting part for me was really that there was another company that apparently they were DDoSing, and these guys did a DNS hijack on VDOS's address space to shut them down, right? And so that's, I mean, you're becoming a vigilante at that point, right? You're taking the law into your own hands. And again, this is me, this is my opinion. I'm very interested to see what you guys think, but in no way should somebody be able to hijack my IP space. You know, I'm not comfortable with what they were doing. Obviously, what they were doing wasn't ethical. It really skirted the lines of legality, because I'm pretty sure they were selling to everybody, whether it was, you know, you were trying to test yourself or, you know, shut down some guy on Call of Duty. I don't think they really differentiated between the two, right? So, but, you know, it's kind of in my mind, it's the two wrongs don't make it right, because it also terrifies me that somebody could ad hoc hijack. So what is BGP hijacking, right? I'm sitting here talking about it without explaining it. So in essence, via BGP, I could advertise somebody else's address space as if it's available from me, thereby redirecting people's traffic to me instead of going to them, right? So that's kind of a DNS hijack. I hijack their IP space. And so should you, in this instance, be able to do this as a security organization, right? I'm being attacked. Should I be able to hijack somebody else's space? Should governments be able to do BGP hijacks, right? Should anybody have the power to do that? What are your opinions? I don't think they should. Like it scares me, right?
So, first of all, if your entire command and control network for your botnet, because obviously these guys are probably just using Loic, which is a very common DDoS tool, and if maybe we should explain a bit more. So how this usually works, right, is you have zombie machines all over the net, which are just machines captured by viruses or other means, usually servers exploited through vulnerabilities and stuff like that, which are basically your things that generate your DDoS in most cases. And
or it's using open ports that are can be used for amplification attacks. Like NTP
those,
and stuff. So that's not necessarily
zombies,
compromised machines.
DNS amplification, yeah.
But what usually happens is that these compromised machines, the zombies, are the source of your amplification attacks. So you use the zombies as the source and then amplify using, open ports on the internet and stuff like that, which is of course like DNS amplification, NTP, SSDP amplification, etc. Right, but obviously all those zombies that you use as the source of your attacks, which then get amplified, have to be controlled somehow. You have to be able to control where the DDoS goes and other things, like update even the software of your zombies. And it's a pretty newbie mistake to actually base all the command and control protocols just on IP address ownership or DNS address ownership, right? So things like just hijacking IP space to hijack an IP address, basically, and then hijack the command and control network that way, basically through whatever means that live on an IP address, is not usually very effective, because a more advanced DDoS network or a more advanced botnet will rely on a much more advanced and encrypted and password, or well, not usually password, but like key protected services to actually authenticate the command and control messages. So it's kind of interesting to me that they were able to control the botnet just by acquiring an IP address, because that's a pretty
rookie mistake.
Pretty rookie mistake.
Well, and to your points, the little bit of additional information is apparently these guys, they weren't shouting to the entire world that, hey, we are running a DDoS botnet, but they really weren't hiding it either. Apparently, they were like on their Facebook pages, they were openly discussing it. Some guy apparently was talking about making posts about how he was, running this botnet and all these, and so they weren't really going out of their way to hide any of this information for some reason or another. I mean, they started when they were 16, so, I just...
Well, if you want to make money of it, well, you have to somehow make it publicly acquirable, your services, so...
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But to your point, yeah, that's a rookie mistake, not distributing that command and control, but still, where do you fall on somebody being able to, let's see, it says this is a quote from the security expert that did the hijack, and he said for about 6 hours we were seeing attacks of more than 200 gigabits hitting us, 200 gigabits per second hitting us. What we were doing was for defensive purposes. We were simply trying to get them to stop and to gather as much information as possible about the botnet they were using and report that to the proper authorities. So should you be able to attack somebody back, in this way? Do you think, I mean, what's your opinion? Say for example, somebody initiated some kind of botnet attack from one of your networks, and so somebody else arbitrarily decided, hey, I got to shut this down, so they did a hijack on your IP space, right? I think I would be fairly upset about that.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't think that even in probably 90% of the cases it wouldn't help anyway.
Yeah, it's very localized. I mean, if someone hijacks your IP space and they're on the other side of the world, like Russia, it's only going to really, affect the stuff over there, unless they're very well connected. So.
Yeah. And you'd have to, but say they're only advertising a /24, which is the very smallest you can send up to an ISP, you're going to advertise that same /24. So, what are the odds the majority of the traffic's going to come your direction? Who really knows?
Well, in the U.S., you're well connected in the U.S., everything, it's not really not going to affect it if it's overseas. So,
but how is going to help you anyway? like in this case, okay, they hijacked the command and control because it was
worked.
just poorly made, right? But how is it going to help you when the botnet is properly designed? It's not going to help you at all. You won't be able to shut it down without understanding the botnet, without reverse engineering the command and control protocols, without actually having the access keys and other things like that, right? So
yeah.
I am as well against anybody hijacking anybody because I first of all, for a small ISP, which might be an originator of an attack, and that's not a good thing, but if you hijack that /24, that might be the entire ISP that you just hijacked.
Yeah, you just killed everybody.
Yeah, you just killed that ISP, and while it's of course not acceptable for that ISP to be hosting a command and control network or to be, hosting those zombies that originate the attacks, but it's still not acceptable for you to just hijack that IP space.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that end too, I was thinking about political attacks, right? So somebody, say a company is actually doing bad things, right? Say they spilled a bunch of oil on a natural reserve due to just apathy, right? They just weren't working hard enough or something, right? So some group, some political attack, a group like Anonymous or whatever sees that, and so they want to attack that guy's assets. What happens if that lives in my ISP, in my data center? I'm just a guy working as hard as I can, trying to make ends meet, and you entirely take down my network to try and punish that one customer, right? So things like that, I just, that's what really terrifies me, right? It's like, yeah, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to stop this one thing, but you're adversely affecting me and my ability to, to create a livelihood. So that stuff, that's what terrifies me, is the fact that somebody could just take it upon themselves to do that.
Well, it's the same as with the DDoS, right? You can order DDoS today. I think the last I checked, like 1 gigabit of DDoS was like $5 per hour. It's ridiculously cheap to order DDoS, and like, okay, you might just be trying to get somebody that plays, like you said, Call of Duty or something with you, but effectively when you actually launch that attack on that guy, you are wiping an entire city out of the internet, at least, because that attack is just not going to that one guy. It's going through all the pipes connected to him, and you are probably wiping his entire ISP or even the entire city of the internet.
Yeah. And if it's in a big incumbent ISP, you know what, those guys, they can probably absorb it. But if you are a wireless ISP, if you are just a small local DSL or fiber services sort of company, that's gonna maybe cripple you, or in the case of a wireless ISP, that's gonna take you offline. That's just, it's not sustainable for your network.
Yeah, you gotta have that BGP black hole stuff set up.
Right.
So you black hole that IP address that's getting the DDoS after you identify it.
Right. But how many of the wireless ISPs that you've talked to have DDoS mitigation ready to go, or not even something automated ready watching, but like a manual plan ready to go for that? I don't.
Yeah,
not very many.
just having remote triggered black holing through your upstream, it's like, obviously everybody should have it, but first of all, there's an issue of people not knowing how to do it, or not having the equipment or time or how to do it. And then there's even the sadder issue that some upstreams simply don't allow you to remote trigger black hole, which is just, in that case, when you simply don't have an option of an upstream, and you only can get that one as upstream, and you are happy enough that you even have an upstream, and then, okay, so they don't allow me to remote trigger black hole, so what can I do? Nothing.
Yeah. And, I've seen some upstreams provide it, but charge for it. So if you want to do remote triggered, you have to pay an extra MRC, extra monthly fee, to be able to have that capability, which sucks. I guess it's good that they have it, but it sucks that you have to pay for it. All right. You guys have any other additional thoughts on that? I didn't figure you guys would be all for somebody hijacking, so it's not like I was entirely surprised. I just thought it was an interesting topic.
Can't we all just be nice and behave?
Oh, God, life would be so much simpler. Sometimes you just have to do stuff to see if you can do it, though, right? Moving on, let's see. and I'm not sure how much this applies to Europe, but the U.S. Electrical pole attachments. So the Mimosa blog had a little thing not too long ago about making micro pops on electrical poles, right? So the idea of attaching radios onto those poles, and I think they were saying that there's some FCC movement to allow this for everybody, right? And so this could be good for WISPs to kind of get down into a small, close area, getting close to their customers. They're saying that FCC rules would be something like reasonable rates for pole attachments, so under $10 to $30 per pole per year, or maybe a citywide fee. I know we do some fiber runs, and so we have pole attachment fees that are in those same sort of neighborhoods. So if you could theoretically put a radio on there along with the fiber attachment fee, that would actually be pretty usable, I would think. What else? Non-discriminatory access, right? You can't hinder somebody because they're not the incumbent. Right to attach in the communication space, the ability to go to the top of the pole if the space is available, things like that. Somebody else I saw a comment on that was saying something about, yeah, you can get on there, but how are you going to get power to this thing? And are they going to put a meter per AP that you put up there, for your infrastructure? How's all that going to work? And that's actually a good question, and it's not touched on any of this stuff. And who knows, maybe that's down to just the individual municipality. But have you guys ever thought about things like this? I think, Thomas, this is sort of how you guys got started with your WISP, right? Doing sort of like little micro pops and then just shooting out to your customers wirelessly, isn't that? Or am I crazy?
So yeah, our WISP originally started, but not with power poles, but
Right.
we did a lot of micropops. We deployed a lot of Omnitics, and basically just made deals with people. We'll put 3 little antennas on your house, so this would be 2 directional antennas. We used SXTs and a single Omnitic, and we would just give you internet for free, and we would just have that one little box sit on the roof of your house, and we pretty much stretched that way, and we made a little rule that we would only connect customers up to 1 kilometer, which would be like 0.6 miles from that particular house, and no more than 10 customers per Omnitic, and we just deployed a lot of micropops like this. But yeah, it wasn't on power poles. And what's actually fun is that in Slovakia currently, our incumbent power company about a year ago completely stopped selling any kind of access to their power poles, because we used to, basically our company does multiple things, and I don't know about how much I can talk about this, but one of the things that we do is we run a fiber optic network for the city. And the city owns the fiber network. We just, deployed the network and manage it for them. We deployed that over power poles and all over different stuff, right? But if we wanted to do something like that now, it would not be possible anymore. And there are talks that our power company, the Slovakian Power Lines company, actually wants to become an ISP over power lines. And so they simply decided to stop selling you access to their power lines. So nobody can simply buy power access anymore, and it's kind of a mess, because in Slovakia there's just no rules yet that it's their property. They can do whatever with it, basically. So it's nice to hear that actually there's like some kind of a fair play rules, or access for everybody if they want it in the US is actually mandated now. At least that's how I understand it.
It seems like it's getting more there, and it's crazy. The incumbents down here, the big guys, seem to find all of these interesting maneuvers to prevent people from coming into their space, right? So it's like here, if you own a property, I own a property, I can't say only this single telecom provider can come in, right? I can't do that, but I can write weird legalese into my agreement with them to where I basically just won't sell anybody else's services on net, or there's some weird finagling you can do to, in effect, lock out other people. And so as soon as you come up with some sort of open mandate, there's always some weird loophole, there's some workaround where the incumbents can kind of lock you out. Hopefully this isn't the case on this, but I don't know. I usually try and stay pessimistic about these things, and I'd rather be surprised, pleasantly surprised, than negatively surprised. But could you guys see doing something like this, little micro pops off of power poles?
Oh, I think personally, it's maybe we just think about little power pops and stuff like that, but camera systems and there's a lot of automation like car counting and people counting system nowadays, which are really popular, which I could see utilizing this really well as well. And when you have access to the power poles, which are everywhere, it opens a lot of possibilities and lots of applications.
Gotcha. All right. Miller, you're awfully quiet. Any thoughts?
Not for micropops, probably just for running fiber or something like that.
Cool. All right. So speaking of Miller, he's our resident Ubiquity expert. He uses a whole lot more than I or Thomas up here. Don't make that face. So something that was announced not too long ago was the AirFiber 11 FX. So it's the 11 gigahertz AirFiber, and so from what I understand, it's doing pretty good. I've seen Billy Mays Hayes or whoever did a review on it saying that he got 16 miles with some pretty good throughput. It's too bad Mike's not on here. He always complains about how vendors nowadays will take the send and receive capabilities, add them together, and say that's the throughput speed of these devices, when really it's only half of that. So it's quite confusing and annoying at times, right? So it's only got a gig interface, but they'll say it does 1.4 gigs, and so obviously it's not able to transmit in a single direction. What about the AirF, or rather the AirFiber 11s? Are you guys going to use some of these, Miller? Are you interested in these? Maybe.
I don't know. We don't have any licensed links like that, and for most of the stuff we're doing, 24 is fine. So I'm seeing this is doing what, 500 at 10x.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Supposedly there's some secret sauce under the hoods. Under the hood, their air vector magnitude.
2-foot dishes. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, probably not. Just because I think this would be a distance-based. When you want to get some distance out of it, you're going to go to 11 or 23 or whatever. Get that, but I don't think so. Probably not. We use a lot of air fiber, but not. We haven't gone with any of the 5 gig air fiber or anything like that. Just 24.
Okay, 24 is good enough for you. Apparently they're like double the size, the footprint. Or am I crazy? Yeah, they're
2-foot dishes.
Yeah, and the radio themselves are just a lot bigger. All right, that's all I have to say about that. I'm not an air fiber guy. Are you interested in talking about the Ubiquity EdgePoint? I saw you got one in.
A friend, Brian, sent it to me for me to look at and to see how we might take advantage of it using VISP. But I haven't even powered the thing on. I just got it Friday. So,
all right. So the EdgePoint,
I don't have much to say about it. It's got an SFP port, so Mike will like that. But
yeah. Like we've fallen all over himself. So the edge port is a top of tower switch, I guess, in essence, right? And so you have you have fiber that goes into it. It looks like they have I think 3 different models, and it has either 1 or 2 SFP slots. Looks like you've got one of the smaller models there, and then it's got a DCN jack. I think you can also do PoE to it, but I think really the idea is you can run 54 volt DC up to this guy, and then he'll spit out of the switch ports 54 or 24 volt. I think, well, it's got some ports that are 54 or 24, and then it's got some ports that are only 24.
This says 24 PoE out only on this.
On that one?
So this must not do the 48 volt. And I have seen fiber with the copper to go along with it for powering something like this. So that is something that I have seen it shows.
Okay, so are you saying like a Siamese cable where it's got the fiber and the power running all in one cable?
Yeah, it's one cable and it has power and the fiber in it all one time.
Okay. Any idea what the street price for any of this stuff is, or
For this, oh, I don't know. It's ubiquity. It's probably not a whole lot.
fairly inexpensive. So
Yeah.
it looks like they're calling this thing a router. Two of them are classified as routers, and one of them is classified as a switch, right? So you've got the EPR6 is a router. It's got 5 RJ45 ports, 1 SFP port, and it only does 24 volt. And then they have an 8 port, and it's classified as a router. 6 plus 2 gigabit ports. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe they're combo ports. Yeah, I think that means they're combo ports. That one also has 2 SFP slots, and that one does 54 or 24 volt. And then the other one, the big 16, is a switch, so it's 16 ports, and it does 54 or 24 volt. That one also says that it supplies AF or AT power, so it's compliant. That's interesting. And then to go along with this, they also have a DC device. What's that thing called? Edge Power?
Edge power, yeah.
Yeah, Edge Power. So you've got a little DC box that can take in AC or DC, I think, and then shoot it up the tower to power this guy.
I did see where that one of the modules for that can accept batteries.
Oh, very nice.
If I remember correctly, so.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And then they've also got the cable to go along with it. The Ubiquiti branded cable to go up there. That's cool. 16 ports. That's a lot of ports on a tower.
I'd rather have 2 of these up there instead of having all my eggs in one basket.
That's clever. Yeah, that's a good point. Just have 2 of them up there.
I guess if you're on a tower, might be. I don't use towers, so.
Fair enough. I mean, it's weather hardened though, so it's made to just sit out there, and all of your cabling will feed up through the bottom. Looks like it's got some kind of a little rubber grommet in there to protect it.
Comes in a nice box.
Yeah. Looks clean, looks solid. It's got some strain relief for your fiber when it goes in there. It looks like some of them also have a little mount for like a Pico station or something off the back, I guess, for out-of-band management. It's pretty clever. It looks like a clever device. It sort of solves that that problem where Mike wants everything to have SFP ports. Well, now you can just do SFP to this one box and then distribute out from there.
Huh. Yeah, it's got 2 screws here on the back. I don't know what those are for. I thought it was to screw into this so that you could, make sure this doesn't fall off for some reason.
Interesting.
But no, it's on there pretty good.
Cool. We need to get some tower guys on here to comment, see what they think. We'll have to have Mike comment on it at some point. All right, so this was one of those short and sweet ones, where I just kind of caught up on the news, a little bit of interesting insight there. We do still have the Facebook and the website contest going. I think Mike already announced a couple of different winners on those, and he should be announcing those guys. We'll be contacting our website sign-up guys. I think we only have like 25 entries right now, and interestingly enough, we still have, I think, 20 things to give away, so it's pretty good odds that you guys are going to win something. So tell your friends, well, or maybe you don't want to tell your friends to sign up, keep your odds up a little bit higher, but absolutely, if you're listening to this, sign up. You guys have a really good chance of winning something. As always, if you want to contact us, grab us on Facebook. You can go in there, you can drop a message to Mike. Mike is the keeper of the Facebook, so he's going to constantly keep pumping out material to you guys. If you want to email us, if you prefer that, you can do contact@TheBrothersWISP.com. That's going to come to us. Any suggestions, any comments, if you guys want to see anything new, have any new products, have any new methods, if you're curious about anything, please reach out to us. Closer for Tomas Kernak. For one, where do people find you if you want them to get a hold of you? That is if you want them to get a hold of you.
Email, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm not that hard to find. Just Google my name and then you can find all kinds of way to contact me.
Go to Unimus, check it out. It's an awesome site.
Oh yeah. Go to Unimus, sign up, tell us what you think, beta test it for us.
Awesome. Miller, anything interesting you're working on? How do you want people to contact you? You probably don't want people talking to you though, right? You're too important.
I'm on Facebook and I have a blog too. So you can get to my blog through Greg's. He's got me linked on there.
All right. Do you want to
I
tell
got a
them?
contact form on there, but
Do you want to tell them what the blog is?
dynstatic.net.
Hey.
dynstatic.net.
All right, awesome. Me, Greg Soul, you can contact me through gregsoul.com. That's an easy way. I also answer the contact at TheBrothersWISP, so if you want to just get me there. I also do the StrayaNet, STRAYA net.com. I couldn't get Straya.com. I'm trying. You can grab me there. I'm doing the MDU ISP sort of thing where I come in, you guys can give me the internet. I will do the Ethernet distribution, take all of the back-end accounting, do all of that magic, and let the apartment MDU owner keep most of the money, and I just get a little taste, right? So it's best for everybody. You get a little something, they get a little something, I get a little something. Again, thank you guys for listening. If you have any suggestions, comments, hit us up. Otherwise, thanks. Bye.